Back to part 2 of my full stack restaurant application Capstone presentation. In this video, I'm going to talk about the data in this application that is persistent, the information that is stored in the database, as well as some of the challenges that I encountered along the way and my attempts to overcome those challenges. So before giving a walkthrough of the database, I'd like to note that I used a GraphQL API as well as the Apollo client to help determine the state of HTTP calls between the user interface and the data abstraction layer. The use of the Apollo client will be demonstrated in the next video. Basically, an example would be that upon visiting the landing page of the website, you'll see below our list of restaurants text that displays no dishes. And it remains that way until we select a restaurant, at which point an image, some text, and select button will appear for 3 different menu items. And the data fetching feature within Apollo allows our components to update with all of the populated data without the need for middleware. So there are GraphQL queries for dishes, restaurants, and orders. And these include create, update, and delete, find, count, and find one. The latter basically being a method that finds and returns one method that matches the exact search criteria. GraphQL is used because we only need to hit one endpoint to get specific data in the query structure, rather than a REST API, which would need several separate API endpoints for restaurants, dishes, orders, etc. We specifically we specify that each restaurant should have many dishes, all with a name and a price. And then when we select or search the restaurants, the data will appear. The data for the dishes, the price, and the option to select. So you see here basically a screenshot of the persisted dishes. And lastly, I just want to show 2 things. The first would be our routes for the endpoints. And then lastly, a quick demonstration that shows the data being persisted in the application. So I'd first like to basically show you here the endpoints, the routes, the JSON routes. This is specifically for dishes. You see we have our dishes.find, count, find one, create, update, and delete. And then of course we do have the same as well for restaurants and orders, as you see here in the code editor. And finally, I would just like to quickly walk through so you could see how data is persisted. So right now, I'm at the home page and I haven't yet created an account. So what I would do then is sign up. We'd have a username, we'll say TCAS2162. We'll do tim@mit.edu. And then we'll just do a quick password here. 01, because we want to have at least 2 numbers. We're going to hit submit. And that brings us to the home page. And you'll see here that we don't have any dishes, but when we click on the 5th season, boom, all of a sudden we have a list of menu items, dishes that we can select. And now if we go to Strappy, you'll see here under users that I now have my account created. That data has persisted to the Strappy backend database. And so that kind of gives a general overview basically of both the API and the database. And so I hope that's helped to shed some light on that. And basically that about wraps it up for this section. So from here on out, we'll move into our final section, part 3, the deployment. And we'll review the deployment, hosting information for this project, walk through a live demo of the project, and go over some final reflections on the project as well. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you then.